Live. All right. I'm live now. Are you logged in or no? This is not good. Maybe that's why I didn't do that. Okay, that would make sense. It says the creator has not logged in yet. Sit tight, and it's blah blah. So I clicked on that link. It's not doing anything. It's just cycling through. So I'm in Google Hangouts, but I don't see the dash. Do you have to log into the one comes first? All right, so I have the live room set up live. Webinar Journey needs your permission in order to start. Oh, there was this little thing on the side in Google Hangouts that I didn't see. And now I just found it. So now it's connecting. It's like doing an API. All right. So now it looks like I'm live on it. Control panel. Yeah, now the control panel just.
I see you.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, that was very loud. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Cool. I like how it says the webinar jam on the side here has rooms, polls, offers, videos. Okay, so let me do the control panel.
Ooh.
Okay, so I'm in the control panel and the live. So now what you'll need to do is on the left-hand side, you'll see a little pop-open thing, and it's a green button with the arrow, and that says screen share. So that's where you're gonna have to screen share and then go to the presentation. And I'm gonna put the presentation link in there in case you don't, so you don't have to search for it. So look in chat in this Google Hangout.
So can you see Slack right now?
Yep. Yep. So in the chat thing, do you see the link that says the Google Docs link in the Webinar Jam chat in Google?
You're looking at it, so where did you put it? Webinars or inbound?
No, I didn't put it into Slack. I put it in here in Google Hangout.
Oh.
Like chat.
Okay. Yeah. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Okay. Where did the one second. Oh, there it is. Okay.
And then you'll just go in present mode, and then you can share.
Now, do you see it now?
No, I don't. Your screen isn't. You have to share your screen now.
Okay.
I think you unshared it. There you go. And now you have to go into present mode. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Now we can actually do this thing. All right. Can we record? Let's see. Can I record it? Can I do a test?
Now, the other. Okay, I'll let you when you're ready. Let me know when you're ready.
Okay. Room request still not live.
Now, did you put the speaker notes into the, like, underneath here, or no? Were the script, I mean, are they, okay.
I know. I mean, I didn't know how. I don't know how. I keep mine usually separate, so I don't know how you normally do yours. But usually, whenever you do presentation, you can see that you don't want people to see the speaker notes.
Well, right, yeah, so there's a way to do that in here. Anyway, it doesn't read off. So I need, yes, just, okay, so I guess the thing I need here is the speaker notes. Do you have that at your fingertips, or do I need to go find that?
Oh, it's right here. Well, it's the script. But anyway, it's in the chat. It's right. I just put it there in the chat.
Okay.
Do you have two screens?
Yes.
Okay, good. So then you can put the script on one screen and then the one that we see, the slide deck.
Yeah, I think you just gave me the slide deck again. I just clicked on the link you put in the chat there, and it was the slide deck.
Oh, let me try again. All right, try that. It says slide. Why does it keep saying slide? What? Copy.
This one says documents. Ooh, what's going on there?
It keeps changing over to slide. Is it working for you when you click the chat link? No.
Yeah, it has presentation. Oh, here's document. Maybe I clicked on. Oh, I got it now. All right, can you see do you see my the speaker notes?
Yes.
Okay.
So that screen you probably want to put on your other screen so people don't see that, and then we'll just see the presentation.
All right. So right now you see the presentation, right?
I see the script, not the presentation.
Oh, really? You should see the. Hold on. What do you see now?
I see share your screen, Google Hangouts, screen 1, screen 2, Google Hangouts, now view inbound. So I think screen 1 maybe is what you want to share?
Yeah, I'm actually sharing the slide presentation now on screen 1.
There it is. Yep, I see it now.
There's like a delay. I read something about that. There's a delay with everything.
Yep, there's a delay. So yeah, I remember that whenever Rick was doing his, it's like he would talk, you could hear the talking, the vocal very clearly, but like the screen, you would have to kind of, go in advance or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I wonder what that delay is, so we could like.
It's just part of Google Hangout. It's like, because it's set up on Google Hangout, and I think Google Hangout, because it's live, it's not like I don't even know how to explain it. I know that like on GoToWebinar, it's not like that, but it's also using an actual app, So this doesn't use an app. It's just like a web. It's like going through the web, and
Right.
So I think because of that, the visuals have a delay, but for some reason the vocals, like I could talk to you right now, and there's no delay in it.
Right. Okay, so let's before I jump into the presentation, couple things here. We want to make sure that the question and answer stuff, like, we don't want everyone seeing that. We only want it to come to us. You specifically you, you and me. So do you know how? Can you get that set up? So I don't want everyone seeing questions and comments, because that's kind of a distracting.
Let's see, to admin. Okay, I'll try to get that figured out.
Now my Webinar Jam app right now, it's interesting. It says it's not live. The Webinar Jam message board, the ones you just put the chat in,
Mm-hmm.
It's saying it's not live.
Yeah, this is a test.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay, let's see. How do I compensate for the delay? This is a good one. Here, I'm going to put that in there. We can read that. Okay, yeah, it's just the way Google Hangout works. Let me give you some tips there. Sit tight. How do I do a test webinar? How do I get people to not talk? Let's see. This one. How do I get a webinar chat? How do I this? I don't know. I'll have to look. I'll send them an email. I don't know. Let's see. I can't. Okay. To admin chat. Oh, I can just mute the chat. Here, see. No. I can just mute the chat. Let's see.
Okay.
I think I just muted it.
Oh,
here we go. I figured it out. All messages are private. Okay. So I can say something like, add your questions and comments here. We will talk or review them at the end of the webinar. Okay. Enable chat box. Enable. And I think that worked. I guess it's hard to tell unless you actually. A broadcast question. Oh, that just broadcasted it. Cool. Okay. See email. Oh wow, so you can see people's emails. That's weird. Okay. Well, anyway, I just set it so that it's only private. So that's first question solved. What next?
Okay, great. So yeah, I guess I should just start this, right? Just start doing it.
Yeah. yeah. And then as we come across like any glitches or whatever, I'm gonna make notes of things to change.
So the one thing I noticed here, like on my screen, I only see the full presentation. I don't see like because I'm screen sharing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see the sidebar with the message thing. I have to, and then on my other screen I have my speaker notes. So I'm not looking at the Webinar Jam dashboard unless I click off my speaker notes and go to it. Do you know? So I'm just saying, like I'm going to be oblivious to any chat or something.
Yeah, I'll be on the back end. I'll be on the back end communicating with people if they're like asking questions or chatting. I'll be like, hey, that's a great question. Well, we'll address it at the end, and then whenever at the end we'll see how you want to do it. Like you could be like, okay, it looks like we have some questions, and you can just look them over, or you could be like, okay, Casey, what do we have for questions? And I'll be like, okay, we have this and this and this and this and or whatever, and then or this person had this comment, and then you're like, oh, that's a great comment, or something like that. So we'll just save it to the end. So that way you don't have to get distracted and people can just keep going, and I'll be on the back end, like kind of deflecting, letting them know that we're going to wait until the end to respond. But like, thank you for your questions and all that stuff. Or
okay,
if they just have help. If they have, like,
so I understand. Yeah, I'm with you. So here's my question then. So how do I communicate with you? Should I use Slack? I just want to, if something comes up during it and I can't verbally say anything to you, and I can't do it, I'm thinking I'll just have Slack open and go to you privately under Casey in the direct messages.
Yeah, you could do that, or you can actually, I wouldn't do it on the presentation screen. I would do it on the other screen, but yeah.
Let me just do it in Slack, because then I'll know it's offline. There's no accidents or any weird stuff.
Yeah.
So for some reason, I don't know what I would need it for. I'm just thinking as a backup if I need it. So if you just keep your Slack open, and if you see something during the presentation, you'll know, whatever. All right, good.
Why don't you try messaging me on the screen that has your script and make sure it doesn't pop up over there. Just test it real quick.
Okay. So how do I message you directly? Under chat to admin? Because then it just goes to everybody.
Hi. Yes, I see that.
So you're considered an admin, right?
Right, and I'm responding. Hello. So can you see that, or are you still looking at your presentation? Do you see that on the other screen?
Yeah, I see it. Hello, I see it.
Okay. Yeah, and that's affected the screen share there, so you're good.
Do you? I'm curious if you have. I think let's do this first as a first test. I'll go through it. But what I'm also thinking is, do you have a separate computer you can log in from as like a true user, and we could run a true dry run on it? You know what I mean? So we're not, because technically we're doing a test system right now. What does it look like for the average Joe?
I don't. I have my phone.
All right, maybe I'll do it then. All right, so let's just do this first, and then on our second go round, I'll try to log in separately. So as a different user, like I'm a guest, so we'll do it live as if it's the real thing, not on a test mode. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So let me just start here, and we can go through this. Now I haven't looked at your slides since you updated them, so I'll just go with it.
Yeah.
And just so you know, so you're not, you'll get to know me. I mean, you heard me on our last one. I'm not a script type guy, but I'm a talking point idea guy. So I'll go through this and cover the ideas, but I'll not necessarily read it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So, no, that's what I was trying to just build the slide deck around your talking points without being too wordy, So,
right.
Anyway, so if we want to make any changes, we'll just make changes today as you go through.
All right, cool. All right, so now how do I sound too? Because I'm wondering if I need to get it better.
You sound real clear. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to mute myself so that you can get the real feeling of like what it would be like. And then if you need me to just say Casey, and I'll unmute myself.
Okay. Yeah, I want you to interject with me as I'm going here. Like after a couple slides, maybe take some notes and then give me a slide 1, 2, and 3. Sound good, but this is what I would say. So I just get some initial feedback from you.
Okay.
But don't wait until like slide 15 because I would rather make an adjustment right there and get your thoughts. So.
Okay.
All right. So all right, good. All right. So yeah, go ahead but it doesn't sound.
Hello?
My mic's solid. I mean, I have a good Logitech mic.
It sounds good. You just glitched out for some reason just now, but it sounds clear.
Okay. Because I can get a really, Joe has a really, really, one of those Yeti mics at his office. I'm sure he'd let me borrow it if I wanted, but if you think it sounds fine, then I'm not going to worry about it. So.
I think it sounds fine. Okay, I'm going to mute myself.
All right. So, and Casey, are you recording this too?
I was trying to figure out how to record it. I don't see a way.
Maybe you can't record a test one?
Yeah, I'm thinking I can't because I don't see a way.
All right, why don't you poke around and figure that out while I'm going here? So.
Okay.
All right, cool. All right, so the anatomy of a school website. Welcome to our webinar at Schola. We're excited about this as a webinar series that we're continuing to do on a regular basis over the next several months. And just last month, we did a webinar on inbound marketing and an introduction to what inbound marketing is all about. And so this is the next step, is kind of talking about, the kind of the core of what inbound marketing is the hub of inbound marketing is your website. So what we're going to talk about now is taking a look at your website and the role it plays in your marketing. So this is the anatomy of a school inbound website. Well, okay, so you can see. So let me tell you a little about what I'm going to talk about today, and go through. This is will kind of give you a real runway for what we're trying to accomplish in this call today. I really want to focus on how you can use your website to attract prospects, understanding who's looking at your site, and then knowing what content to create in order to attract prospects to your site, and how to get information from parents, and what are the best design features for school websites. So ultimately, as you walk away from this webinar today, the goal is to really recognize, yes, your website is the hub of your marketing, and I mean all marketing. Traditional marketing from your traditional marketing from, I'm seeing when you're typing and going here, that's fine. So traditional marketing, radio ads, your print ads that you're doing, all of that is centered around, and ought to be centered around, how you have your website set up. And this is a significant change from just a few years ago, and that change has been brought about because of the use of mobile devices and the access and the higher bandwidth to the internet. So because of that, what we're going to do here is kind of get into the website. Now, if you're not familiar with inbound marketing and all the details I got into last time, you're going to need to look back at that other webinar. Take a look at that for the future. I'll say this better later, Casey. I'm just blabbing here. So let's start off here. Well, the first thing I want to do is let you know that you have a gift. It's Christmas time, and we love giving you gifts. And we want you to be blessed by, after this webinar, being able to go and download this ebook. We'll figure out, Casey, if we're doing the web when this is ready. So how I say that, you'll let me know beforehand. And I'm probably just going to say, we'll send you a link to this after the webinar, just to kind of keep us, and or soon after the webinar. And so good. So anyway, you'll get this ebook here, and I think this will be a helpful kind of backbone for you to process both what you heard here in the webinar today, and then for future reference, and also for maybe board members, other colleagues that weren't able to be on the call. So a little bit of background about Scola and myself. My passion for when I started Scola just roughly about three and a half years ago, was built around the idea that I wanted to help schools with their number one problem that they tend to face year after year after year, which is attracting the right mission appropriate students to your school. I emphasize mission appropriate. We want to help you attract the right students, not necessarily the wrong students. So it's great if you get a lot of from inbound marketing, but the goal too is also to find the right people, the right families, the right students to come to your school. The reality is, a lot of the problems behind a school's financial situations and difficulties revolves around their enrollment, because that's the number one way in which a school funds itself, is through tuition. So most will end up living paycheck to paycheck and our budget month, budget month, by being dictated by how much gain they have and the lack of tuition revenue they have, because typically the schools operate with only about 80 to 90% of their budget being funded through tuition, and the rest of it they have to fill up through development. So the idea here is, if you can get more students, more quality students, and you can increase your enrollment, then you don't have to rely on your annual fund to be the core of whether you'll survive or not from year to year. So our agency was built on the idea. We are primarily focused around helping Christian schools, Christian universities, and ministries. We help them increase enrollment, retention, and donations through inbound marketing. I've worked in various capacities, as a co-founder of a classical Christian school, as board president for 12 years, and even functioned as a superintendent for a couple of years during that time period. And over the past, state this language here, and I've been advising and coaching and strategically working with schools to help them with their enrollment growth. So I'll think of a better wording there, but it's more than just mentoring. Has been advising and mentoring for the schools for the past 4 years. I just think put the word schools in there is what I'm thinking. So our goals for your school are straightforward. When we want to help you attract students, as I mentioned, retain the good ones, and also reposition your school to stop being the best kept secret in town. So let's get started here. And this is, again, what we'll focus on today. Is I want to really help you understand the problem and dive deep into what is the problem with websites and school websites. And the better we help you define the problem, the easier it'll be to understand the solution. So I want to go over what inbound marketing is at a real high level. We won't get as in depth as we did in our last webinar. I'm also going to get into the science of how you get found online, how people find you, your school. I want to talk about the first impression and how a website is your first impression for prospects. And then we want to talk about content creation, and how to attract the right prospects to your schools, and how to convert visitors into leads. That'll be an important part of having a successful website that is inbound friendly. And last, we'll have some time for question and answer. So just jumping in here, the big question is why aren't private schools seeing more visitors, or why private schools are not seeing more visitors? So this is kind of weird, the sentence here. And I'm not even looking at my speaker notes as I'm talking. It's kind of funny. I'm looking at the slide. Sorry, you wrote all this, and I'm like, not even.
I got that impression, but I was like, oh, well, whatever. I mean, whatever works for you doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, it's funny. I just need to, I wasn't. Okay. So this is slide 5 or slide 6. We'll define it.
Yeah, and ignore the slide numbers because I had to add a few extra slides in there, and then I think I forgot to update the numbers on there. So I'll just update I'll update the numbers after this, but just ignore the slide numbers.
Okay, cool. All right, this is good. Okay, so why private schools are not seeing more visitors or applications? This is a big deal, and if we can get this right and understand the problem here, it'll really, really help you. So one of the key reasons is the reasons schools don't see more visitors and applications is you're not really focusing on your target market, and you don't really know who your target market is. One of the things we help do is help you identify who your buyer personas are. And when we say buyer personas, we mean who your ideal prospective parents are that you want to attract to your school. Now, most people, when you hear that, will translate that into, well, I want more kindergartners, or I want more 7th graders. Well, so you go out and say, okay, let's buy a mail list, a direct mail list, or we want to subscribe to a magazine that focuses on kindergarten students, and we're going to send out a direct mail piece to the demographic of 10,000 names within a 30-mile radius of the school. Buy the list, go through the whole rigmarole of doing a direct mail campaign. And the problem is, though, you then send out that direct mail piece, and you think you're sending it to all these families that have kindergarten children, because you bought the list and you went through the detailed work of identifying that the list names had kindergarten children, or let's say preschool families wanting to be in kindergarten, and you spray it out there into the marketplace, and then you pray that people will call and come to your school, come to your next open house, because you'll have an RSVP to this next open house, and the phones don't ring, and you wonder why. So the problem is most shot, because the reality is that there's your buyer personas. Effective kindergarten parents are different types of kindergarten parents. So you might have one type of kindergarten parent who is a full-time working mother, and her needs are much different than a parent who is a stay-at-home mom and the needs with her kindergartner. One has a very big emphasis on daycare, the other, she doesn't need daycare. So just recognizing, even in your messaging and how you're going about things, to focus on your target audience, which would be get more kindergarten students, but there's actually different types of kindergarten parents in that. So the problem with traditional marketing is that you spray it out there and you pray that you get the right people coming to you. Whereas with inbound marketing now, you can actually target your messaging and focus in very narrowly on who your target audience is. So that's one thing that's a big deal in helping people get better at, schools getting better at marketing. So the other thing is that's real important is not only do you need to understand your buyer personas, who your parents are that you want to attract and what they're like, but also understanding the buyer's journey. Many schools don't even take this into consideration. I often, will talk to schools and hear that their main goal is to have an open house and then get the families to apply from the open house. But the reality is before a parent even decides to come to your open house, there's a whole other thing, a whole other engagement that's going on with the prospect prior to them ever even considering whether they're going to go to your open house versus your competitor's open house. They can only go to so many open houses, right? Assuming they're interested. So what we talk about is that a buyer goes through a journey, and you do this too. Think of all the Christmas shopping you're doing right now and some of the bigger purchases. Maybe you're buying a new TV, or you're buying a video game console for your child, and you've done this research more extensively on something that's maybe a bigger ticket item on what you want, but you went through and you've read reviews online, you've become educated on what you wanted because you wanted a certain type of television set versus a smaller size. Why to get a bigger one? The HD versus the new, and I'm forgetting my terms here, but the bigger sites. I'll clean that up. But the idea is that you're aware that you want to solve a problem in your house, and you want to get a better television set. So now you go and you're looking and you break it down into more detail. Well, you look at your different options. So the idea here is that your buyers, your prospective parents, are going through various different stages in this journey. And if you don't recognize that, you can't reach them where they're at. And if you don't have the technology to reach them where they're at, you can't do. You're kind of handcuffed even if you wanted to. And that's the part of the value of inbound marketing, is getting your prospects content in front of them that's related to them where they're at in their journey. So that's what we're going to dive a little more deeply into. And this is a big part of the problem, because and this is where we see a significant uptick in the number of prospects that a school gains when they're able to connect with prospects way before they ever begin the process of engaging and actually just determining whether they're going to attend your open house or not. Whereas most of schools, all their focus is on is, how do I market to get someone to attend my open house? My clients, that's not where we focus. The results will be there for them to get the open house if we're doing the other things right, and their attendance will go up dramatically at the open houses. But the ultimate goal is to reach them sooner in the buying process through using content marketing and inbound strategies. All right, so the next thing is, as we think about look at nurturing. There it is. Okay, so the other thing is they assume a prospect is ready to enroll in your school when they are researching. And it kind of goes back to the buyer's journey a little bit, but the reality is people out there are strangers and they don't know who you are. You think they might, or you think everyone knows about your school, but you sort of know they don't, but you kind of think they do because you're in love with your school. And that's what happens, I think, a lot of times, is we get kind of tunnel vision, or we get love eyes, I guess, where we're these love goggles, if you will, because we see everything through the way we see the school and how great it is. But we forget that there was a day when we didn't really know the school and what it was like to learn about the school and be recommended and referred by someone, and bump into it online, those kinds of things. That whole process, we forget about all those dynamics that occurred. So the idea here is we have to nurture prospects along gently, and we don't want to just get married with them on the first date. I mean, how many of you here on the first date asked your spouse to marry you? Well, let's not do that to our prospective parents. In fact, this is one of the biggest and I don't know if I'm jumping way ahead here.
Yeah, I was going to say that's on a different slide.
Okay, so I'll keep it light here, and then
I think just in this general section, just keep it kind
yeah,
of
I'm talking
short.
too much. Yeah, I think I have to go
Getting
through it
into
all at
like,
once. Yeah, I need to go through this like I'm doing now, and then I'll know when I do it again.
yeah.
I don't have to say everything at the thing.
Yeah, because you're going to be going more details into it later, and also you're already into like 15 minutes into the webinar, so you know, I feel like you're going to lose them if you go too far into it right now.
Yeah. Okay.
You're doing
yeah.
You're doing good.
Yeah. Let me just get through this content here, and then I'll come back and do it again, and I'll do it real fast. I'll do it much faster. This is good though. All right. So the bottom line is nurturing is the problem with a lot of schools is you're assuming a prospect is ready to enroll in your school when they're just getting educated and learning about your school, and you're really pushing them too hard. And the better you are at nurturing and understanding where they are and helping, that's going to make a big difference. And what happens is the better you are at nurturing a prospect earlier in the process, the more trust they're going to have with you in comparison to your competition. So here's the big deal, though. The reality is 70% of the buying process is complete prior to a prospect ever contacting you. So I think it's really critical to understand this, that most school websites are not built around attracting prospects and converting them into leads. I'm reading this and thinking as I'm reading, this is what inbound marketing is designed to do, turn your website from a brochure to a. So here's the deal. I'm going to say this again. Start over here. I might have to fix the notes on this a little bit for my flip, because I'm really big into this fact. Here's a very, very important fact. Casey, one thing, I like this animation. I don't like the face on here. I don't know. I don't care. It's fine. Anyway. Yeah, anyway, I'll just leave it. It's actually.
Oh, I just grabbed one. We can change it.
Okay. Yeah, just thinking like a smiling mother there. Like a real photo is always more engaging than a.
I just thought it was cool because it had moving thing on it.
It is.
Yeah, no, I'll find something better. I just didn't know. Like, I guess just a mom looking at the computer screen or something like that. We can do that.
Okay. Yeah, I always prefer live photographs if we can. Unless there's a reason not to. All right, so the fact is that over 70% of the buying process is complete prior to prospect ever contacting you. Think about this. This is a huge, huge shift for your admissions team. It used to be in the past that your admissions team would have the keys to the kingdom, which they would have your view book, your application packet, and all this information about the school. I mean, just think like 10 years ago, and some schools maybe still, is the admissions team was almost like a guard. Like you couldn't get, if you didn't come to an open house, you couldn't get the information you needed in order to know, okay, is this the place I want to do? So the main goal with many families would be get to the open house, get the packet, and then you have all the information and you can decide. Well, that's obviously changed significantly with the internet. And it's even more so. Not only that, they can actually find out people's opinions on your school online now a lot easier. Think of how word of mouth marketing has changed. I can go online about anyone's school on this website, and I could probably get a good, clear understanding of your school's reputation in your community in probably under an hour. I could do some thorough analysis and read competitors' reviews. I could read reviews on sites that compare and contrast, like greatschools.net and private school review. Really get a look at your Google reviews, your Facebook reviews, and there's ways to just look at that very quickly. Look at your social. A lot of things I can do as a prospect to learn about your school ever before I need to even talk to you. So think about how this changes the relationship you have with a prospect. If they're showing up to your school, and if they're younger too, they're under the age of 40, you can count on the fact that they might know just as much about your school as your admissions team does from more of and so that makes a big difference in how you talk to them too, because they're going to want to be engaged in a way that respects the fact that they know a lot about you, and you more engaging with them of where they're at, not where you think they should be. So anyway, that's kind of a big point here. And so, even as you think of the construction of your website, this becomes more important too, because your website now is built around the reality that your prospects need to have lots of information, but information that meets them where they're at in the buying process. And this is what inbound marketing is all about. We want to go from your website just being a nice brochure and billboard online to actually a lead generation tool. So we talked about inbound marketing. I want to just we've done other webinars on this, but in a nutshell, what inbound marketing is about sharing content with the world. We want to create content specifically designed to ideal parents. And inbound attracts qualified parents to your school and keeps them coming back for more. The major themes of inbound are content creation, distribution, creating targeted content that answers potential currents, basic questions and needs, then share that content far and wide. So lifecycle marketing, what that means is its enrollments don't just materialize out of thin air. They start off as strangers, visitors, contacts, and customers. There's a process that you have to nurture them through. So specific actions that are marketing related and tools help to transform those strangers into new happy enrollees. And really, a lot of what marketing's real goal is, it's not necessarily to get them enrolled in your school. It's really to get them to visit your school. In the speaker's notes there, Casey, happy visitors to the campus. And so the goal is we want to get them to visit your campus, then apply, then enroll. Most schools will not have a trouble with, they won't struggle with the fact that once I have a visitor to my campus, they know what to do. They have someone that's really good at follow-up, and those are things obviously that you want to make sure you're good at and you're fixing. But the idea is once they visit your campus, you know what to do typically from then, and maybe you need some tweaking and analysis to make sure you're doing it right. But in general, the idea is once you can get them to your campus, the key is. So overall, though, the idea, though, is personalizing your marketing, though, to tailor your content to the needs and wants of the people you're viewing. As you learn more about leads over time, better personalize your message to their specific needs. So ultimately, this is going to build lots of trust. So there's lots of different marketing channels. I'm sure you know that, and it can be overwhelming with all the different social media platforms that are out there, from Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. I mean, it can go on, Pinterest. The idea is that there's blogging, there's email, there's social media, there's search engine, there's offline stuff, advertisements, there's online advertisements. So all of these channels have to be integrated into a whole, because it's how we approach these prospects that are out there. So that integration is really central to that we have, and I often liken it to like an orchestra. And the idea is that you have all these different instruments to use, but if they're not harmonized through a conductor, then you can't really attract and have this beautiful music that's playing to be attractive to your prospects. That's what we do at Scola. We function as the conductor, and we help harmonize this marketing strategy so it's attracting prospects with the right content at the right time that are the right prospects for you and identifying your right buyer personas. So as I mentioned in the last webinar, we did a deep dive into inbound marketing as it relates to private schools. If you didn't get a chance to view it, I highly recommend it, as it will enhance your understanding of what I'm speaking about today. It's available on demand, and you'll see the link pop up in the chat panel. Okay, good. That's cute. All right, so that'll help me. I'm glad you have that there, Casey. I'm just going to make that black because that helps me. I will make sure not to bring that up until this part in this, so that's helpful. I think I brought it up earlier. Okay, so let's continue here. So let's talk about how you get found online. Inbound, oh wait, I didn't finish this. Okay, you have a whole thing in here. So inbound marketing turns modern websites into the hub and machine for all your marketing efforts. This is an important job, involves wearing many hats. Your website needs to do more than just exist. It needs to perform. It needs to attract parents to the site, educate them, and answer their questions, and convince them to come tour your school. Good. Ultimately, this is the goal. I'm Modern website needs to be built like the internet is. Social interactive. This means search, social media, content blogging, and lead generation all need to be integrated seamlessly into your school website. That's excellent. I like that. All right, good. The reason for this shift is largely due to how parents are interacting with the website today. They want to consume information when they want and how they want it, oftentimes without having to actually call the school or to find out what they're looking for. This goes back to that 70% statistic that I told you earlier about. 70% of the journey is completed before them ever contacting you. More importantly, they want to be educated and not sold to. Schools are better at educating than anyone. They just need to convey that on the websites. Casey, one quick thing here. This right here, can you put a footnote on this? The research, can you put the research footnote here where it came from? It's out there on the net. I had it on my other presentations.
Okay.
So
I'm gonna put it on the slide itself.
Just right underneath here, this idea that there's a research that's been done on this.
Okay.
And you even maybe rephrase this. Research has shown that over 70% of the buying, that kind of thing.
Okay. But you want me to put that on the slide deck, though, right?
Yeah, put it on the slide. Yeah. There's a couple places that have that too. Some are different hats, but it's the same concept. All right, so going back to this slide. So here's a question for you. A great school website isn't so great if no one visits it. This is why before we start talking about design elements and what a good website would look like, we first need to talk about getting found online. What are the best tips to help schools increase their search engine rankings? Well, first, let's define search engine optimization, otherwise known as SEO. SEO is the process of maximizing the number of visitors to a particular website by ensuring that the site appears high on the list of results returned by a search engine. So at the core of that is keywords. Keywords are important because you need to design your website pages around specific keywords that naturally fit into your prospect's school shopping journey. Knowing which keywords to use is built on knowing your, such as Google's Keyword Planner, HubSpot Keyword Tool, and SEO Moz. In fact, this idea of keywords is something we might dive into in a future webinar in more in depth in the months ahead. It's absolutely critical that you understand that when someone types in on Google a keyword, that represents a real felt need, a pain, problem, or frustration from a prospect. And so keyword research is really critical to be able to connect with your buyer personas. And so as you get to know your buyer personas better, we'll have my phone turned off. As you get to know your buyer personas better, you'll also have the scientific research you're doing through the keyword research. Those two will come together to paint a picture of what your prospective parents are searching for online. And then you can be them for them. So inbound links, also known, oh wait, I'm not using the thing here. So that's what SEO is. There's keywords, and then there's on-page SEO. Okay, it's backwards here on the thing, but so we have on-page, inbound links. Yeah, you got to get that. Thank you. So on-page SEO, this is another very important factor. If your pages aren't optimized correctly, your efforts have been wasted. This consists of placing your most important keywords for your school within the content elements of your actual pages. So there's a lot of details involved in that, and companies spend a lot of money to get that right because you want to make sure that the Google algorithm. Let's just put the reference to the Google algorithm in there. The Google algorithm is. I'll just type this, and you can finish the sentence here. The Google algorithm that actually helps find your site through the right page title and H1 headers and all these little details that allow them to accurately pull up your page in the search engine results are connected to on-page SEO. Another way to think of it is, I like to think of it as like the Dewey Decimal System in your school library. In case maybe you can put this in the notes as I talk out loud on this point, is your school library is if you walk in and I don't know where to go find a book, or you ask a student to go write a paper, you're gonna have to do a lot of time to be able to find this big stack of books, right? Well, that's why a librarian is so important. And what on-page SEO is you're basically using like the Dewey Decimal System in accordance with Google and how the search engines work. So you're actually organizing your website in a way that makes it so Google can easily find the information that the person's searching for when they come to your site. So that's a kind of a little analogy for you that might be helpful. Another thing is what we call off-page SEO or inbound links. This is from other sites that have authority, and this is a major factor. So as you build links from other sites to you, allows you to be seen as a more authoritative. So think about this, like when you do a press release and you get linked back from an article in a local newspaper back to your site, Google says, oh, wow, this another website that we think has a lot of authority in this community, local community, is linking back to this other site that doesn't have as much authority. Well, it increases your authority to Google. So those are some things that a simple explanation of what we mean by links from off-page SEO. So there's a lot of things you can do there. All right, so let's talk a little bit more about the buyer's journey that I brought up earlier. We need to build your website.
A note about this picture. I don't know if you got my little message in Slack, but I don't know if this picture is really appropriate for the audience. She seems like she's kind of like boozed up and hacked out.
Yeah, you're right. Is there just like a picture with someone just dressed up pretty? I mean, it doesn't even need to be like this drama thing. I agree with you. Yeah, just like a nice looking girl dressed up, like going to the prom kind of thing, but by herself. But it doesn't need to be like she's mad or sulking or anything like that. Just just to fit the website dressed up idea.
Okay, I'll check it out.
Yeah, I was having struggle with that too. Thanks for saying that. All right. So is your website dressed up with no one to date and nowhere to go? I mean, this is a very common theme I see with websites. I can't tell you how many websites I go through, and they're pretty websites, but they do not translate into generating prospects. And yet, I will say this, having a pretty website is better than having an ugly website any day of the week. However, if you think that by just having a new website design done and making your site look pretty is going to result in you having more leads, you might want to think again. This is in the business world. This is happening all the time. People waste lots and lots of money designing beautiful websites, but they don't have anything to do with connecting with their actual buyer's journey for their prospects. And so that's what we want to do. You want to have a website that connects with people where they're at. And even in the flow and structure of the website is really critical to connect with the buyer's journey. So we spend a lot of time with our clients in looking at how their buyers are going through their website and looking at things. So I'm trying not to get into Hotjar and stuff because I'm assuming it comes later. So let me just get back on note here. Your goal should be to have a website that is built around the buyer's journey and based on real hard data. All right, what's this?
That's just an image I found on HubSpot. It was like kind of relating dating to inbound, and I thought it was cool. I just threw it in there as something else to add to this slide deck since I didn't really have anything else to talk about there. But we can add something else.
Yeah, you know what? Just find a better picture here. Let's take this out because I don't want to talk about the 4 stages of dating. Let's take that out right there and just find a pretty picture, and that's all I'll need for this one, because I just want at this point that just having a pretty website isn't enough, and that's all I need to say. Is that okay?
Yeah, sounds good. I was just looking for one actually.
Okay. All right. I'm reading your thing. Your goal should be to have the website that is built around the buyer's journey and based on real hard data, not just subjective opinions of your administration board and marketing team. That is website structure that deliberately takes into account your school's uniqueness of prospects. Yeah, so yeah, here's the other irony too. When you have a pretty website, and I'm gonna put this, irony of pretty websites. Now, when you go and update your website from an old ugly website to a pretty website, you're going to get everyone in the choir and the stands are going to all come out and tell you how great it looks. And the problem is the people's opinion that matters the most are your prospects. And if you don't even know how to get their opinions, that becomes very difficult. So to really know, is your website really that good? And it might take you 6 months to a year to find out, you know what, this isn't doing what we thought it would do. And yeah, everyone likes it, but if you keep hearing from your board and your existing parents or staff and administration, make sure you're not falling into groupthink there. I'm writing a note here, groupthink. Beware of anyway, that's good. I don't want to overdo this. Here's another issue. As you think about the buyer's journey, is are you asking your prospects to get married to you too soon? Did your prospect ask you to get married on the first date? How likely do you think you would have ended up marrying your current spouse if they did ask you on the first date? Deciding where to send your children to school is a major life decision for parents. In my estimation, is easily on the top 10 on the list of most important decisions a parent will make in raising their children. Yet the way schools often market themselves does not take this into account. Let me be clear. Asking a prospect to get married to your school by completing an application is not going to help them in their journey of researching and discovering the right school. Now, keep in mind, I'm talking about the prospect the first time they come and engage you. When they're ready, I cannot have the Apply Now button on the top of their homepage. My view is that if a prospect is ready to apply, they have likely gone through a lengthy research process of reading, talking on the phone, and visiting the school prior to being able to fill out the application. The reality is our prospects will not apply, aka also known as getting married to you, the first time they visit your website. So instead of asking a prospect to apply, why not attract them to valuable premium content, such as an ebook or video that will help them in their research process? Of course, this means a piece of premium content they will want to give your. Okay, this is a little weird. I think I wrote this. Of course, this means a piece of premium content they will want to give you your email. Of course, this means you need to give them high quality and meaningful premium content. They will want to premium content that will you fixing that for me, thank you. Of course, means you need to give them high quality, meaningful premium content that will translate into them wanting to give you their email address in exchange for the content. You want to convert those visitors to your website into prospects whom you now have their email address, and now you can nurture. Now you can nurture them further through the says to become a visitor to your campus. In my estimation, you have to nurture them through this and get them to visit your campus before they're actually be ready to apply. Some might apply beforehand, but most of the stats I've seen are that the ones that do apply without visiting your campus don't end up enrolling unless they're a foreign exchange student or someone like coming from another similar type of school is very committed to the model of your school, and they have an urgent situation. But a general, a regular prospect is not going to fall into that. So, okay, growth-driven design. Okay, let me. I have one other thing here. I've just realized that it's a big theme here. Okay, here's one thing. I'm just going to write this in a note here. And one last item is the 80-20 rule for website design. Okay, this might need a separate slide that goes right here. You could just do a screenshot of a website, and let me just tell you at Casey, and then you can put it in there. This is pretty easy. So I'm going to talk about it, and you can just kind of make it slide 12 or whatever. One last item that's really critical to understand as you go about thinking about designing your website is ultimately website for. Now, obviously, throughout this presentation, we've talked about prospects, but what I see is most websites are not designed for prospects. They're designed for parents, existing parents, and a lot of work goes into how parents, on the social media links on the site, these news items, and current events, and those things are all good to have. I'm not saying you shouldn't have them on your website, but it's the focus of the website. So what I like to apply is what I call the 80-20 rule for website design. The 80-20 rule for website design basically is that 80% of your design, especially on your homepage, and that's kind of really where I'm focusing here, and 80% of your site on your homepage is designed to convert visitors into prospects, to convert visitors to your site into prospects, which means your conversion is defined as when someone gives you their email address. Whereas the other 20% of the design is focused on your internal families. Most schools, it's flipped the other way, where 80% of their website is focused around existing parents and families. And the reality is, if you do your research, you'll find out that most of those families aren't even engaging with the site. And there's objective ways to look at whether they're engaging with it. You can oftentimes, this comes up in surveys, and there's some other tools that whether even existing parents are actually using your homepage. The reality is, most existing parents will go to your website for very practical, direct reasons, such as your calendar, your online grade book, and maybe the lunch menu or something. So it's something very direct that they want real quick, but they're not there to kind of go through this long process. And so a lot of times, even the social media stuff, they're not really going to the website to engage with your social media. They're going to the social media platform. So I've just really moved away from using Facebook on the sites as much as we've updated sites. So that's something that might be helpful for you. Well, here's another thing. Yeah, just put this new slide.
If that little section could fall under that dating.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's great. Thank you. Yeah, what I was actually thinking as I was talking about it is it's like a good first slide, even before 10. Yeah, why don't you? Yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah, let's do that, because you were saying too that didn't have as much to say there. So let's do that. And put the 80-20 rule in the copy. So maybe down
here. This is all kind of similar to how I have the 11. I'll have it. Actually, I've updated the presentation too. I don't know. I think because it's in presentation mode, it's not showing the updates. But I think if you exit and then come back, there you go. It'll show you. I just found another image of a kind of a geeky looking, but kind of wholesome looking dude. And there was also a dog. I liked this guy, this little dog that was kind of cute. I kind of like the geeky guy. And then also look in the chat pane. I have a dog in there that's kind of cute. I don't know if you can see it.
On the chat pane?
Uh-huh.
Which chat pane? Webinar Jam or?
Webinar Jam, yeah.
Now I just see the presentation there. Oh, maybe I need to update that. Oh, I clicked the bottom. Never mind. It's funny. It's upside down. Like, I usually think the chat's at the.
I know. It's confusing to me too. I was looking at the bottom the whole time. So I think when you have more stuff. Anyway, did you see the link?
No, now my chat's all screwed up. Hold on, it's not showing. Oh, it all disappeared. Everything in your chat just disappeared on me.
What?
Yeah. Because I refreshed it and it deleted everything.
Oh, wait, here, I'll put it again. There. Did that work? Was that it? That wasn't it. Hold on, I don't know what I just did. That was something else. That wasn't it. Right there. For celebrity Dotson.
Yeah, that's cute.
Yeah, I like him, and I like the geeky guy. I didn't know which one you liked better.
Yeah, just pick one.
Okay.
Yeah, you're good with this stuff. I know.
Okay.
Yeah, so this like.
I'll put the 80-20 rule at the bottom somewhere so you can kind
exactly. Yep,
Okay.
yep. You're tracking. Perfect. All right, and then you can just take my notes and put them up there. So I'll let you do all that. Okay. Let me just continue on because I'm getting my brain in this here. Okay. So here's the other challenges. Okay, we've talked a lot about these buyer's journeys and these stats that show your site needs to be different. Well, how do I objectively know that? What the buyer's journey is going to look like? Not just my opinion, because I've been doing inbound marketing for years, which obviously has value, and you also have a lot of value yourself as someone who's managed your school for a long time, and your parents. So how do we really know for sure what's going on? Well, the wonderful thing with this technology is there's some great tools, and I want to kind of give you a sense for this of what we're doing to be able to do this. So in addition to trying to make the big proposal or aspects too early in the buying process, I often notice that most website designers do not know how to think about a website design when it comes to inbound marketing. There are companies out there who are solely built around designing websites for schools, and they look pretty. I'm not even going to mention their names there. They're expensive, and they have a lot of cool features and tools, but the reality of it is that most do not take into account the buyer's journey, nor are they customizing the design of the website for the peculiarities of each school. Not all, but are like this, but most. So here's what we do at Schola that might be of interest. We take time to know your prospects and how they are using your website through looking at our analytics and user experience in your website. Here's an example of an update to one of our top clients whose website we were updating because we discovered opportunities through doing in-depth research. That seems a little choppy there. I'm just going to highlight that just to maybe word that a little more smoothly.
Also, I was going to say, I didn't really know how the slide deck, like you said, to insert the heat map, but I wasn't really sure how the images were going to, how the images were going to support what you're saying. Like when and what kind of images you wanted me to go and where, I think. So I just put it in there, and I think I wanted to kind of go through that a little bit more. So like you have your.
You know what? That's a great question. Let me answer it by just going through this, and then I can fix it because my brain operates that way. I need to, because what's going through my head right now as you just asked that question is I need to define growth-driven design.
Yeah, I mean, you have it there. You have it, this new concept. What does this mean? Da, 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 da. So I figured that would be like, I have that growth-driven design, that right there to support it. But above it, I have the heat map. And I didn't know if you wanted to talk about the heat, like, okay, this is a heat map right here. Okay, yeah. So we have, this will be like click, right? So click heat map. And then click growth-driven design. So, but I just didn't know like what this section is, like what I should put here for this. If there's anything, or I guess we don't really need anything there yet. I just didn't know if you wanted something there to support it.
Yeah, I don't want to dive too deep into this. I just want to let them know that there's something that they don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm thinking, okay, so I'm thinking, yeah, okay, I'm thinking, let me start, I'm going to start this all over, and then let me just go with it, and we can fix it. So one of the, in addition to trying to make a big proposal for the buying process, I often notice that most website designers do not know how to think about a website design when it comes to inbound marketing. They lack inbound marketing strategy. There are companies out there who are solely built around designing websites for schools, and they look pretty. However, most of them do not take into account the buyer's journey, nor are they customizing it for the peculiarities of each school. Not all are like this, but most. So, in addition to design, that is a much different view than what's traditionally done in website design. And it's called growth-driven design. And I'm going to get into that in a second. But before I do that, I want to give you a concrete example how we objectively, what we do at Schola to objectively know where the buyer is at in the buyer's journey, so we can design experience on your site using analytics. And also what we do is we use heat maps. And here's an example for you. This is one of our top clients, and this is what we've done is we have a tool we use that we put into the site, and we can see where a prospect goes on the site. So there's actually another tool that's connected to this that we can actually watch where their mouse is scrolling. And so we basically will accumulate thousands of visits and watch what's going on and be able to then say, okay, what parts of the website are people seem like they're really interested in, and why or why not? Now, Casey, you know what's interesting about this heat map? Why isn't there, where's the download now? Did that not show up in the
download?
Yeah, that's kind of weird, isn't it?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, you would think you would see those buttons there. I just took that directly from the Slack. So
yeah, you know what? Do this. Just cut this from the top and ignore the CTA. Just like, I don't want to, because that looks weird that it doesn't have people clicking on the, because that kind of defeats the whole.
Yeah, you're right. Okay.
Down, just do the top of the fold.
Edit it so that it's cut off before the CTAs.
Yeah, and then that'll even allow you to fit it right in here. That'll give more.
Yeah, because I had trouble.
So that's all I want to do is just show them. You can see here there's a heat map, and that's it, you know.
Yeah.
And we'll start the scrolling thing. I'm sure that's a pain to put that in here with a live video of the mouse scroll.
I can't figure out how to do it. That's the problem. Like,
yeah,
I don't.
Yeah, we'll figure. We don't have to do that. You can spend hours on one stupid little thing like that. So.
Well, what we could do is, I was gonna say, we could put the link. Like, you could have it up on a screen, like on another tab or something, and then just tab over to it so they can see your screen.
Yeah, let's not do it. Then I don't want to do it. It'll just create more.
Now, what I did do is I tried adding that. There's like a mobile link or whatever, but because you can't add a video URL, but it only lets you do video URLs if they're hosted on YouTube. So the one that you sent, it's like insights.hotjar.com. It's not letting me use that as a video that I can load. It has to be. So I don't know if there's a way we can take this and put it into YouTube. But I just feel like it maybe just overcomplicating it right now. So
Yeah, let's keep it simple. Yeah, don't let's not even bother with that. So
okay.
all right. So this is a heat map of Washington Christian County's homepage. We look at this and you can see where your visitors are going to on the site. This helps us make educated assumptions that fits the prospect's journey so that they are more likely to build trust and want to get more information from us. Keeping in mind this is a good website already and we are improving upon it. Now, some of you might be saying, well, this seems like too geeky, too narrow. The reality though is if I can get 10 more leads by how I lay out a website and where I put certain menu items and knowing, certain things are not a bigger concern and I prioritize it, well, that's 10 more leads that you didn't have. And that could be a big difference for some schools. So this does have a big difference. And by the way, if your tuition's like $7,000-8,000, you can literally get conversions where someone's going into your whole apparatus there if you're doing inbound marketing and nurturing people by converting more, and you'll have more prospects to deal with. So it can be extremely important. I also liken it sometimes to this too. Would you remove the front door in your school and brick it up and then make it so people could only enter your door, your school from the back door? I mean, that's not too inviting. How long is people going to tolerate that, So the reality is you want to structure the front door of your school on your website here to make it laid out the best user experience so they can walk up to the path and enter into your school the easiest way possible. And that's kind of take that thought and put it down because I don't know where that came from, but it's pretty good, I think. So anyway.
Hey, I updated the slide too, so if you want, I don't know if you can get out and refresh it. I don't know if that's possible. I think you have to actually exit and then you can see it. It won't show you, once you're in presentation mode, it won't show the changes I'm making.
Oh yeah, that's way better. Okay, so next, the other thing I want to bring up, as I mentioned, is this idea of growth-driven design. Now, this is really, really exciting, and goes back to let me just get into what this means. Instead of redesigning your website every 3 years and viewing it as a project, you all your marketing strategy and you're updating your website all the time through incremental strategic upgrades based on actionable data that comes in through more lead conversions from certain call to actions, landing pages, offers, colors of CTAs, messaging, etc. So you make these adjustments to your incremental adjustments to your website based on real data. This is the model that is very new, but really making an impact in the business world. We're starting to do it with some of our school clients now. So what this means is, instead of your website kind of falling behind the times every couple of years, you're now always ahead of the game because you're making these incremental changes. Now, your mindset towards your website is different. And obviously, you're not talking about, doing a $10,000 new website every couple months. You're making small little incremental changes to your website based upon this data and knowing what's going on. This can be a huge difference for you. And the other thing is that you're seeing your website as the core of your marketing, and that's kind of the central premise here. If you don't think your website's that important to your marketing, or it's not the main thing, then that's fine. Now, let me caveat this. I just realized this, and word of mouth marketing is obviously very important, but I would say your website is a complement. It's a tool of your word of mouth marketing, especially if you think of social media and how that plays in with your website and word of mouth marketing. So I'm thinking all those things run together. So anyway, a growth-driven design strategy can help you achieve those type of results. It's a philosophical shift in how your school typically views your website, and it is not for the faint of heart. It takes more effort and time, but when you start seeing the result, it makes it all worth it. So what we're doing here is we're just making these little changes to the site as we move forward and get more and more data, and then we see how prospects are engaging with things online, and then we get more and more conversions and more leads. And this is what we're doing with some of our clients now. So And you can see the difference between most website design projects. It's kind of a nightmare. So our goal when we have a client come on and for an inbound strategy is to basically get them on a new website within 60 days. We call that a launchpad site. And we launch the site off, and then we start analyzing it, and then we make adjustments as we go to the site and keep improving upon it. But the idea isn't to make it into this huge 3-month design. Sometimes we can even do it faster. But the idea is to get a launch off the launching pad, and then we can make adjustments. So anyway, I'll explain that, and I won't get too crazy on that. But, all right, I'm just seeing where we are. First impressions. Okay, I can't read this. It's real. The font's small. This is weird.
Yeah, I couldn't get that to move. Okay.
Maybe clear formatting.
I kept clearing formatting, and then it kept, I don't know. This is weird. Yeah. Something weird with that. It came from the ebook, so that was like, we don't even have to say it. It was just like something directly from the ebook.
All right. So, all right, whatever. It's not. Now that you're generating some good traffic by getting found online, your next focus is on getting that traffic to stay on your website. Most school websites have a 30 to 60% bounce rate on average. The bounce rate means when they come to your site, they're very, very short. They're boom, and they're leaving. They're usually going to one. Casey, correct me if I define bounce rate here. It is when a visitor comes to the site, they hit one page, and then they leave. And how many of those visitors are doing that? And if you're, is that how you define bounce rate, Casey?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just making sure.
And they landed on your site and immediately left.
Yeah, exactly. So if 36% bounce rate on average, your website represents who you are, what you offer. You need to put yourself in the shoes of the parent when designing your website. What are the most important things to keep in mind when designing your site? Keep the design clean, simple. Be selective. What items you want their eyes to draw to. Think about how they're scrolling through your website. Don't assume they are just looking at it on a desktop. Many will be on mobile. Determining the branding before you start. Keep the design thing. Make sure your website is mobile responsive. I'm basing that off of that survey we saw this morning. Determine the branding before you start. You'll want your fonts, colors, images, and messages cohesive throughout the site and all your marketing materials. Be thoughtful in the navigation. Studies say the most important element in a website design is in finding information. You want to be accessible on all screens. People are viewing website on many types of devices and only get more as time progresses. Your website will not. So you actually said that right here. Let me just, whoa, we're doing the same thing. All right, I'll let you fix that. I'm going to jump out of this.
Sorry. No, it's okay. I was just trying to fix the notes here. Sorry.
Yeah, I want you to, on this slide right there, instead of accessible on all screens, use the word mobile responsive. I think that guy, Rick Mayberry, that email I sent out, did you see that? I think he saw that I'm doing this webinar, and he pushed out that blog post to try to get ahead of me.
Okay.
So he's I'm not even worried about him though. But anyway, let's put responsive design on as that last one instead of you can put accessible on all screen, but put mobile responsive. So I just want to have that term out there so people hear it.
Okay.
All right, let me keep going here. We're almost done. This is good. We're doing this, even though it's tedious. Content was one of the most important aspects of any website, but even more important with schools. It's not only what search engines and parents are looking for. It gives them an idea of the type of education you will provide in the mission and culture of your school. If one of the it is one of the few ways a prospect can experience your school and make an emotional connection prior to visiting your school. Leaving out this unique opportunity to connect with your prospect makes you compete on the same level as all your competitors who are solely focused on getting prospects to visit your school through the spray and pray marketing strategy. What are the must-haves for school website content? Clear messaging and a unique selling proposition. Serve, not sell. Provide helpful tools they can print or watch that will answer the most common questions you are hearing. Be ruthless with editing. If you aren't creating content that is above par without error, what does that say about how you will educate their children? Provide proof that children and parents are happy about your school's testimonials, reviews, blogs. Vlogs, is that video logs or is that intent blogs?
Oh, blog.
Okay. Leverage other sites that provide reviews such as greatschools.com. Start a blog. Here's why. It creates fresh content and more pages of content, which is great for SEO. It helps establish you as an authority and thought leader. It helps drive more parents looking for schools like yours and send them back to your website. It is a great channel with which to converse and engage with your parents, students, alumni, and staff. It's a great way to get valuable inbound links. Good, good, good. That's all good. Okay. Calls to action. Okay, what is a call to action? Turn your website visitors into a lead. This is the entry point for your website visitor to turn into a lead and add themselves into your marketing program. Don't go generic or too busy. Be very thoughtful about your word choice and always give them the what's in it for me factor. Always be very thoughtful about where you're placing the CTA. Make it stand out and relate to the buyer's journey. Good, that's good. Okay. Landing pages. A web page with a form. Landing pages. A web page with a form so that is a landing page. A website. A web page with a form. So landing pages. Landing pages are a web page with a form so the user can get what you promise in once they click the CTA. Concise, friendly, and convincing. Be really thoughtful and strategic about your form fields. They're the key to lead intelligence and segmentation. Only ask for the information you need. Subscription form for a newsletter is a great way to leads that care about your school. Great way that leads. This one's confusing. Offer a subscription form newsletter is a great way. This this is weird. I'm not sure what you're trying.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just my brain's gone dead.
Get rid of that whole section, I think.
Okay.
But the point is that, like, you know, incorporating it into your entire marketing program, like, you know,
yeah,
I don't know, whatever. You know what I mean? It's like other stuff.
Okay, my brain is going. I'm trying to all right. Landing page examples. So let's just look at a few landing pages here and just notice their examples. It's annoying that this is still. We're redoing their landing pages now. I don't know why they have a menu on there.
I know.
All right.
Yeah, whatever.
The immediate junction design that I can't stand that. All right. So yeah, here's a good example of a landing page for one of my clients at college and how we do things. You can see we have an ebook that fits them where they are at Fordham College. Here's another landing page that's talking about an open house. Follow these guidelines. You have a great website of varying parents and enrollments, but don't stop there. A website never truly stops growing. Keep learning and stay tuned for more updates. So top of the funnel, converting websites for schools. Okay, I'm a little confused here. This is slide. Okay, so we jumped from. Oh, I missed the whole slide. That's me.
Yeah, I had to add this.
No, I totally missed this whole stuff.
Oh, okay.
At school, yeah, if you can just black these like through here, because my visually when I'm doing the thing, my eyes will find it. That's what happened is I drifted down. At School Inbound Marketing, let me just tell you a little bit about us, so you can, and if you want to learn more, you can. At School Inbound Marketing, we help schools to attract more quality prospective parents and nurture them into enrolling their children at your school. We do this by raising awareness about your school in the community, so it's no longer the best kept secret. Our team consists of marketing experts, designers, and content writers who understand the specific needs of private schools. Our programs include inbound marketing, strategy, branding, admissions, and marketing plans, lead generation marketing, social media outreach, search engine optimization, paid search marketing, customer relationship. Conclusion and pitch. Follow these guidelines and you will soon have a great website that generates. Don't stop there. A website that never truly stops growing. Keep learning and stay tuned for more updates. What's this? Tofu. Everything we've covered today is fully explained and enhanced in our latest ebook, Converting. Okay. I don't want to read the word ebook offer. It's the ebook. Converting websites for schools. We will send you a free copy in our follow-up email along with a recording of this webinar in case you would like to review it. Also, if you want to talk now about your school, learn more about school. It helps to realize this online present, create an inbound marketing machine, schedule a free consultation. You will walk away more informed and excited about the future. If you'd like to set a meeting, just let me know in the chat panel and I'll follow with after this webinar. Okay. Yeah, Casey, on that part, you there?
Yep.
Thinking that's fine, but I don't want to get into managing that. Use my they can use my Calendly link
Okay.
that I have on the bottom of my email, or it's actually on the website. It's on the website.
Why don't we put that on the consultation page? Like schedule consultation, we can send them, like they fill out the form, we can send them to their Calendly to pick out their time.
Yeah, actually, you know what? Great point. So maybe what we do is you send out we send them out the ebook, and then if you want a consultation, it just has a link on the email, get your ebook, and then also schedule a consultation. It has a link back to the website where they can fill out the form, because I have that whole process set up.
Okay, cool. So
let me just show you where it is, so you're not confused with what I just said. Hold on, I'll pull it. Can you see the screen here?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I think I have it. Where is it? These need to be better. I know they're on the blogs. There are a couple different places, but this is, yeah, there's.
You mean just the consultation page, right? And then you want me to set that consultation page to be, instead of like a thank you page, it'll go to, what is your Calendly link?
Well, so what happens is when they go into the consultation, and they do it here, they fill it out. It actually, so here, I'll just show you, like. So you just know for long term, you can have a better way of doing this. So they click here. So that sends it to me, obviously, through HubSpot.
I think you have to put an actual email address, or just at least something at .com or whatever.
So now it sends them to this page on Calendly.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Free marketing. So actually, this is kind of strange. It should be sending them to this. This is where it actually should send them. So you could use that link too. I just dropped these in Slack for you. So however you want to, whatever makes sense at the situation, it doesn't, so they can go in and book these.
So you want me to switch the the thank you page?
Or on here, you mean?
Yeah.
Where's the thank you page?
Wait, no, I mean, you want to switch the link that it goes to whenever, because right now, hold on, let's see. It goes to Calendly, and then you said it needs to go somewhere else on this Calendly page. Where should it just do, like, you just keep it here, like you can choose what they want to do?
Yeah, no, I just put the right link in Slack for you.
Oh, you did, okay.
It's the 45-minute website marketing assessment and the URL.
Okay,
and so it does like a week at a time.
Okay. All right, so that's pretty much it. I think.
Yeah, I'll do this by myself again. Yeah, this is good though. I mean, we put a lot of time into this, and I think it forms the backbone of a lot of our other future presentations.
Yeah.
All right. So when is this? When are we doing this thing? Thursday?
It's Thursday and Friday. Uh-huh.
What time Thursday?
11:30 EST, your time. Both days.
Yeah. So you and I should log in for sure at 11, right?
Mm-hmm.
Eastern, and then just make sure this is really working well.
Yeah. Definitely. I was like, yeah, like 11 I feel comfortable. 30 good minutes.
Okay.
Come on.
All right. You might. So what we didn't do right here though was a real test.
Mm-hmm. Well, maybe we can ask him, or maybe I could just log in as a regular person. You know, now that you've got it, you would just log out, and then you can give me the invitation link, and I can log in as like what an audience would look like.
Okay. Where do I do that?
Why is this not in the heck? Upload. Gosh, I was like you're just driving me crazy. Okay, so under, let's see, let me log out of this. Let me log out of.
Welcome to Webinar Jam Studio. Here are a few things that you'll need to get started. First, any of the training that you need to set up or run a webinar can be found on this training tab here. This is about webinar configuration.
Yo. Hello. I'm here. Hey. Yeah, do I need to get out? Yeah, I'm actually in the webinar studio right now creating a test webinar. Well, I'm in the old one on Hangouts right now, my screen, but I'm in the oh yeah, we got to make sure we don't lock people out if they're